All right, David. It says we're recording with David Jeans. How are you doing?
Doing okay. My family and I are hanging out. We're teaching kids, just finishing up the school year. Things are going well. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, no, I live by myself, so I'm isolated at times, but it's bike riding, it's walking, it's Zooming. I mean, I'm very grateful to Zoom and just to see you. We'll cover a lot. I'm trying to think, you just told me something. You just saw, I mean, what was it, a drive-through at De La Salle, so it gave you an opportunity to see the seniors?
Yeah, it was awesome. It was a graduation drive-through put on by the school, and not only got to see the baseball players, but all the kids in my class because I have all seniors, and so it was awesome to see them. It kind of finalized everything, I think it was good for everybody.
Absolutely. That's also what we should touch on. I know you as a baseball coach, but you're a physics teacher. I mean, that's the neat thing. At De La Salle, Alma, he's everybody. They're teachers first. I mean, so you had some of these guys in your physics class?
I do. I love teaching, learning new things in physics. A lot of people are scared of physics, and hopefully when they come into my classroom, they're a little bit put at ease. They figure out a lot of things that works with them, whether they're a track athlete or a football player. Shamar Garrett learned a lot about physics just in terms of football. And so I try to personalize it with them, and I try to make them feel it. But I love being in the classroom.
Yeah, that's great. It's come full circle. When I talked to Shamar, he mentioned you. And so
oh, did he?
Yes, no. And that's it. People see him on the football field. He's in the classroom. He'll be at San Jose State.
Yeah, no, he was an awesome student. I mean, sometimes things don't come easy for people, and he just grinded, and he hung in there, and he just kept on working. He reminds me a lot of Cameron Colvin, who I had in physics, who's done really well. Shamar's gonna do really well in life.
Well, that's it. To tell people who don't know who Cameron Colvin is. I mean, he was football, but now he's a businessman.
Yeah, Cameron was one of the top recruited guys out of De La Salle as a wide receiver, I think back in 2003. And grades didn't come easy for him. He's a Pittsburgh guy like myself. Had some things happen to him as a younger kid. But you know what? He never let it get him down. He never used excuses. He struggled a little bit, and he retook physics with me. Just a great kid, and now his playing days are over. But I think he's in Arizona and Las Vegas, and he's a business owner. He's done really well for himself. He's helping the community. He's written some books. I try to stay in contact with him on Twitter. That's so neat. Just really good story, good role model at De La Salle.
I think it's a lot of real estate, and
real estate, properties, things like that, developments. He's got a good knack for that.
Absolutely. And just going over for me, me just knowing you makes me feel good. You being around you're just positive. I mean, I'm the games, being out of practice. Tell people your philosophy. You're tough, but you want the kids to have fun.
Yeah, I mean, I'm tough and I'm a grinder. There's only one way. One of the common themes that I get from a lot of my former players. It's just there's no easy way around getting better. It's just work. It's just work ethic, whether it's in the classroom or on the baseball field. And we always try to invest in ourselves. And so if you're out there working hard, you're getting better as a person, whether it's baseball or life or friendships. And so that's a neat thing. We talk about goals all the time. So there's nothing negative about it. It's great being on the field with the guys. It's great reaching goals and goal setting and accomplishments and just plain hard work. So I just enjoy being around that like-minded people.
Correct. And then also tell people what goes on Saturdays when people are healthy, when you can do it. You guys don't isn't it like you tell people it's a neat thing you do on Saturdays.
Yeah, I mean we carry probably one of the largest rosters in Northern California, if not in the state. We normally have 35 to 37 kids on our squad, and a lot of them are really, really good. And we only get to play 2 games a week, so there's not a ton of time for guys to get in there. And so We try to play against ourselves every Saturday. It gives an opportunity for everybody to get some playing time. It gets them better. I mean, if you have to face Kyle Harrison and you're a sophomore, by the time you're a junior, you're going to do really well. We did that with Vinny Bianchina and Keone Coloma. We brought them up as sophomores. They didn't play much, but they played every Saturday. And so they got to face Ryan Costu and Trace Tamero and those guys. And it just made him so much better. And I think Vinny ended up being all-state as a junior. And so I think that experience helped him. And it's just camaraderie, and the kids love it, and it's fun. We put the scoreboard on. Sometimes we put jerseys on. We'll invite the parents out. Kids love getting in the box. Kids love being on the mound. And so we try to give them those opportunities.
Yeah, I know. I think we'll talk about maybe just other things. Just I remember just being there. You hit the ball into the tarp. You hit it into the hole, and everyone goes crazy. I mean, just
yeah, it's just baseball. Baseball's a wacko game because it's tedious, and you have to make fun. It's a game of failure. It's tough, and so anytime we can find something to laugh about or have fun about, and so the tarp is down the left field line, and if there's a foul ball down there and it gets in the hole, we go nuts. We have a little ball. Nick Sorelli got the ball signed. It went through a hole on a certain day, and it sits in our dugout. So there's little things like that are kind of important in life. When things get stressful like they are now, sometimes you got to find little things to be happy about and just have fun.
I'm glad you mentioned Sorelli. I mean, I met him on the football field. He was when it was about 2 years. When was that game against Monte Vista at St. Mary's? The final game.
Yeah.
Remember that?
That was a championship game. That was his junior year.
Right.
And, I called a bad pitch. It wasn't his fault at all. It was a righty-lefty combo. Their big hitter was up. It was the bottom of the seventh with 2 outs, and the wind blows out. I think, bottom of the seventh, top of the seventh. And the wind blows out and right in St. Mary's, and we had gotten this guy out on a certain pitch all year, and we went to it one too many times, and I tried not to play with scared money, and I went back to it, and he hit it out.
Right.
Luckily, we got a run, and Nick finished it off in the eighth.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It made for an exciting finish, It
was. It was a great game. Monte Vista had a good team that year. They had some good quality young pitchers and Bill Piona, and it's a rivalry. So I mean, you get that atmosphere. That's awesome.
Right. And I think it was the next year against, I think, Foothill, it was the opposite, where you were the only one that knew the game was over. Remember that? Wasn't that a walk-off?
Yeah. Well, that was Nick Sorelli again. So Nick Sorelli hits the walk-off home run. We weren't sure about whether there was a 10-run rule in the championship game or not, and we looked it up in the middle of the game. Actually, Derek Brown helped me look it up, and we figured out it was. The umpires weren't sure, and I told them, and the rest was history. We dogpiled, and it was fun. We had no clue we were going to win by 10 runs. Foothill had a legitimate team. They had a second rounder on the hill. So
exactly, they had a good pitcher. No, but that's
very good.
No, that's my favorite. I just posted it yesterday. The dog piles. Something that was so simple. Talk about that. How special a dog pile is, and we might not see one for a long time.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we get into that situation, if I can hold kids back. I mean, we've been lucky to have some dog piles, and it's if you ask kids, it's the best feeling in the world. And I know it's only 1 or 2 teams at the end of the year that get to do it. Maybe that's what makes it so special in baseball. It's so hard to get. And so I watched Armani Smith do his again online, and he's going to be speaking on Friday to our kids. And you just see the joy in it's the culmination of just hard work, 4 years of hard work, and it's almost like a relief. But it's so fun to watch the kids go through that, just the look on their faces and the pictures afterwards.
Absolutely. That's another thing you mentioned on Armani Smith. I think Brandis, you're going to have some of the guys come back. Tell people what goes on Zoom.
Well, right now with this stuff, luckily we have a network within De La Salle community of guys coming back and talking to our players and figuring out how hard it is in baseball and what you have to do. So Friday, we're going to have Armani Smith, who went to UC Santa Barbara and was drafted by the Giants. We're going to have Joe Vranish, who was a football, baseball guy, went to St. Mary's, drafted by the Dodgers. Ryan Cole, who's at Notre Dame. And Connor Roberts, who's down at UC Santa Barbara. I mean, luckily for me, those 4 kids played together in 2016. And they're going to talk to the kids about their experience in baseball and college and some of the pro ball that they've gone through and what the kids need to do and learn. And so we feel lucky at De La Salle that our network is good. So it'll be great to talk to those guys.
No, absolutely. And maybe I'm trying to think just what I remember this year. I remember that 2016. But this year, that coming out, it was, I think, the St. Francis game. And it was on a Saturday, early March. And we were concerned about rain. We weren't concerned about Corona. Do you remember that? I mean, tell people about that day.
Yeah, it was just, I mean, St. Francis beat us last year. It was our only game that we lost. The coach down there does a great job, great history at St. Francis. And we got to get them back at our place, so our kids were pretty fired up. And we tried to play that game, and it kind of sprinkled a little bit. We got through in and out, and then it just kind of came down, and we had to put it off for a couple days. So this is part of the deal with baseball is the rain aspect.
Yeah, no, yeah, and it was neat. I think it was either your classroom or Crespi's classroom. Your team was in there, and then St. Francis was in another classroom, and they were playing Rochambeau. Blake Burke had the hangman going, and no, it was just neat to see all that. But I say in the back of my mind on that Saturday, and the world got shut down like the next Wednesday or Thursday. Corona were you thinking about Corona on that day?
No, not that day. Just it's so tough to beat St. Francis. And, Kyle Harrison was getting ready and there's scouts and the whole bit. And you're trying to make sure you take care of everything. And the kids were awesome. They were playing Rochambeau and like tic-tac-toe between the classrooms. And you kind of build a bond, and you figure out kids are just kids, even though there's rivalries and you want to beat people. Kids are kids, and they like to spend time together. And that day kind of showed it. We got them some granola bars, some bars and muscle milks, and, we delivered them, and they were gracious and came back a couple days later. So
right. And maybe talk about that on the Tuesday. All those radar guns that were there to see Kyle. I mean, that was quite a scene.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle's a 1 in a million special talent, and the draft is coming up for him, so we'll see what happens there. I give that kid a ton of credit. His maturity is off the charts. I didn't even notice all those guns until I saw the picture afterwards, and I'm sure he knew it, but he pitched a really good game. He wanted the ball against St. Francis, and he pitched well, and we got lucky. They had a really good lefty going, and our offense was ready, and we were able to put up a couple runs.
Well, that's exactly it. I talked to him. He knew the scouts were there, but he didn't see the guns, and that's just how he is. Maybe talk about Kyle, but also talk about the team, particularly the seniors.
Well, I mean, Kyle's just a competitor, and I talk to the scouts about him, and what's good about him and what's he like. And when a game starts, man, he gets locked in, and I'm more, I just kind of advise him, and I ask him questions, and I let him do his thing, are you good? You want to go more fastballs? What do you want here? Are we really out of the game here? And he was always really honest with me. Really upfront, and just, and he knew, I think, sometimes when I said, you need to go back out there and get this last hitter out. But other than that, man, he's going to do well in pro ball. And I think he just represented our whole senior class. I feel really bad for them. You did okay in the beginning. Our offense wasn't there. And then we lost a tough game against Jesuit. They had their number one going, and we put some good swings on early. They pitched us backwards after that. We didn't adjust, and they got us. And it's a tough way to end the year, you know what I mean, for our seniors. one of the best things about our program is we're not ready-made. You know, kids just don't show up to our school, you know, throwing 90 or being really good. And I think the whole thing about our school and our teachers and our administration is the growth of students. And I just feel really bad that our seniors didn't have that opportunity to grow through their senior year and show what they learned through those couple of months. I think that's my biggest disappointment. They were ready. I mean, they're hard workers. I'm super proud of them, but they didn't get that opportunity to grow as baseball players, you know, into their roles of, hey, it's my turn to be the guy. I have the rock now, you know. Mason Carvacho and Carter Stevenson, those guys who didn't get very many opportunities their junior year were now going to be counted on, and they were doing really well, and they just didn't get the opportunity to show it, and I feel terrible for that.
Right. And then what about that game there on the Thursday when you were going up on the bus? Was there some texting? I mean, was it in doubt? You got it in. You played like one of the last games in America.
Yeah, you know, we had some bus problems. The bus showed up late, and so I was really nervous. It's an hour and 45-minute drive up there. It was pretty warm, and some of the kids drove on their own, and I was really worried about the kids all getting there, and we were late. And when I got there, I walked onto the field, and I had a feeling this was going to be it. And I told a couple of my coaches that, you know, and when that thought process hit, it was a big game. All the scouts were there. There was nobody else playing. They have a catcher that's really good that could go high in the draft. And it just started going through my mind that for our seniors, this might be the last opportunity. And as the game was going on, I tried to find some opportunities for all of our seniors to get in. I switched some pitchers. Yeah, that's when it hit me, I think, when I walked on that field. The whole Irish and everything. So,
but that's what you do. Even like last year, I remember the game against Heritage. Who was the guy that got hurt? And you gave him an at bat. There was a guy. Do you remember that?
Nick Camozzi.
Yes.
Awesome guy. You know, he's a kid, 4-year guy. He's playing down in Southern California now. Just a great kid. He was supposed to be our starting DH, and he got hurt in our first scrimmage. Broke 3 toes and had a tough time making it back. He could kind of walk. He still had a limp, but we wanted to get him an at-bat, and he got an at-bat, which was, you know, and he battled. He ended up striking out, but he got to 3-2 count, and he did what he's supposed to do, and he's healthy now. He's playing. He's doing great. He is one of those guys that represents De La Salle baseball.
No, but that's how you do it. You remember that. You make sure he gets in there. Another guy I just thought behind the scenes that I know that other people might not know, Kevin Dixon. Tell people who Kevin Dixon is.
Kevin Dixon is one of our managers. So we have a number of managers within our team. I think it went back all the way back to Donovan Smith, and he kind of created these roles, and they're a part of our team. They go to our chapels. They talk like they're part of they give their advice and everything. And Kevin's one of those guys in a long line that has done that. You know, I trust him with my credit card. So, I say, hey, Kevin, we need this. And he figures it out and gets it done. He's a 4-year guy for us. And, he's as special as anybody else. So I appreciate those guys. He was in my AP physics class, and, he's going to be hard to replace.
Absolutely. I think he was also did the music, and because of him, on to the next one. That I love hearing that song. I think you do too. We're the only 2 white guys in America maybe that know that song. But I don't know if you know, I almost got sued by Jay-Z because of that, because I put it on Instagram, and within 2 minutes it said Universal Music Group wants you to take this down. And so I immediately took it down. I'm not going up against Jay-Z's lawyers. But I mean, it's amazing. It happened within 20 seconds. It was up and then it was down. But
that's one of our songs. I remember, I think it was after Donovan Smith. I don't know who the manager was, but it's hard. I'm actually writing a recommendation for Jericho Campos. He's one of our managers that played the music. And I remember we won our first game, but we didn't play well. We didn't play hard and we didn't play well, but we ended up winning. And when we won, we didn't play that song. And so in the meeting afterwards, I hammered the manager for not playing the song. You know, we didn't do a lot of things right that day, including not playing the correct song when we win. No, I appreciate that song. It's kind of the fun stuff that has grown within our program.
Right.
That are kind of our stuff. And so, you know, when things go bad, we'll change it. But in the meantime, let's have some fun.
Yeah, that's always been my posts up on Instagram. On to the next one, you know. And what about this? Other guys mentioned a few of the other seniors or some of the other guys on this year's team that stand out, or you know, I'll give you a moment here.
Well, there's a number of them that are, you know, moving on to D1 college in terms of, you know, Charles McAdoo and Vinny Bikina and Keone Coloma, obviously Harrison. And we kind of know about those type of guys. But within our program, you know, the lifting and the getting better and, you know, guys you don't hear about is Kevin Harioka, Max Rettig, you know, Johnny Hoffmeister, who's going to go play at LMC. Barger, there's just a number of guys, Gawker, a number of guys that represent the program the right way. And when you get a lot of guys on the same page that buy into each other and to the game of baseball and hard work, it's a momentum that is really fun to be around. And so going to practice with those guys was I think what I missed the most. You know, just stepping out on the field and the pitchers race against the position players to get to center field first every day. They pick somebody new. And so those seniors really represented De La Salle baseball super well. And we got to start regrowing that again. It's going to be hard as heck. But the seniors did a phenomenal job. And a lot of it is guys that people have never heard of. Right.
No, as I said, I just like being around your guys. Bringing a gnome to tell people what the DLS gnome is.
Yeah, well, I think you started that.
Yeah, exactly. No, but
yeah, it's a little represented gnome, and it's just, again, it's a baseball thing. Yeah. When you get on a streak and you have a little, you know, a DLB gnome or a Terry Edson gnome or whatever it is,
a minion. You know? A minion.
Yeah. No, last year was the minion. I think that started in Vegas.
Yeah, that's what I was told. Somebody bought it in Vegas, and it made it all the way to.
Yeah, they might have bought it, or they won it on one of those games.
Yeah, yes.
And it was just like, now he's a part of the team, and so a little doll minion that Kyle Harrison would bring around, or Mason Carvaccio.
Yes.
And some of those things I don't even know about until the end of the year, which is cool.
No, that's it. Just you and me talking. You know, it's just fun to think about all this. And then going
2012, it was a crawdad.
See, there you go. I learned something.
A live crawdad to the Coliseum.
A live crawdad. Okay. Yeah. I got to ask somebody about that. I mean, that takes some effort.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things like I said, I don't know about until the end. And
right.
There was a one-armed crawdad.
What about going forward? I mean, the first thing, you guys are the spring. The first thing is getting kids back in school. What is the thought on that? And then how do you do sports? Do you have any opinions on any of this?
Well, things are changing quickly. You know, we had a meeting yesterday, and I think the most important thing, like Mr. Lopez said, is worrying about the fall varsity guys first, water polo, football, and cross country. And you know, and I've been texting Mr. Lopez. I want to get back in the weight room as quickly as possible. That's a huge part of our program and our relationships and our dedication to work. And so the sooner we can get back in there, the better. But we have to be safe with all this stuff. And you know, Mr. DeMarco does a great job looking out for the school. We have to be smart. We have to be safe. We have to have the kids, we got to watch out for the kids. That's our number one job. And so we're not going to hold back. We're not going to be scared, but we're going to be safe and we're going to be sound. And Kent Mercer and Doug Bauman are going to help us, and we're going to do the right thing. Put it that way.
Okay.
Mr. Aliotti, Mr. Lopez, Miss Dr. Allen, do the right thing for the school.
Yeah, no, I know all those guys. That's it. It'll be a group decision.
Yeah.
And as I said, for you, it's the weights, but more importantly, it's the football, the cross country, and the water polo. And
getting back into school. That's
the big thing. Right now, are you planning on being in the classroom?
I certainly hope so. I mean, I did the online deal. The school did a phenomenal job being ready for it. They did a lot of planning and a lot of work to prepare for not being at school, and the teachers did a great job. And they're planning more. We learned some things. De La Salle does a great job of like reevaluating when we do something. And so they'll have a plan for the fall for whatever comes down. If we have to do it completely online, if we have to do it modified where they only come to school sometimes, if we can get them all back in the classroom, that's my forte. I've talked to a number of other teachers about that. There's nothing better than teaching a student and being able to look in their eyes and engage their level of understanding. And so that's harder to do online. You have to do it more in written words and verbal, you know what I mean? So that's the Zoom thing. As much as I love talking to you right now, I'd rather be sitting with you in person.
Yeah, exactly. But for me, actually, the Zoom changed my life. All I like to do was talk to people. It was a pain, setting up cameras. Now you just say, when do you have a little bit of time? And you turn it on.
It works out well. And I actually did one-on-one tutoring with students on, it was our Schoology stuff. It's our internal stuff. But working one-on-one with Shamar on a whiteboard.
Yeah.
And, I had a number of students that just said, hey, can you help me out? And we did stuff one-on-one. And I got better with technology. You learn new things. You roll with the time.
Absolutely. So. That's the big thing. Sports will be nice, but the only way it happens is if the kids are in the classroom. So we'll figure that out when it happens. I'm trying to think for you. I mean, there's so much. I mean, people don't know how smart you are. Besides the physics, it's sports. You could coach football. You did coach football.
Yeah, I did coach football for a while, and I loved it. Football's a little different mentality, but I started as an offensive coordinator over at Clayton Valley, and then I was the freshman coach for, I think, 9 years, and then the JV coach for 3 years at De La Salle, both, helping Bob Ladisher and Terry Edson and Mark Pinella and Justin Allenbaugh and all those guys. And it's a great family atmosphere, and I've brought a lot of football mentality and what they do that helped me to become a better baseball coach. And so just the process of growing, accepting responsibility, hard work, you're not going to learn from anybody better than Bob Ladisher and Terry Edson. So,
that's the thing. Now that you think about it, I see a lot of those principles at your practices in the games, because about the only time you ever get upset is if someone disrespects the game or does something stupid.
Yeah, when they disrespect the game in terms of not playing hard, that's about the only thing that upsets me nowadays. Kids are going to do things that are kind of stupid or to throw the ball away or make a mistake. I just want kids who want to learn the game and play hard and get better. And that's not only as baseball players, but as students. I love teaching kids who don't get things easily, and they got to grind at it and work. And that's all we're at. That's all our coaching staff asks for is guys who want to get better and play hard. And so that's about the only time now that I get upset. That's disrespecting the game. That's disrespecting every single player who has played before them at De La Salle, who went through the grind.
Right.
And, That's a big thing for baseball guys. Is the baseball gods. Don't disrespect.
Yeah. Don't mess with the baseball gods.
Yeah, that's important.
How about this? Just De La Salle as a whole. See, people they know football, they know baseball, they know basketball. Tell people about the school, because you've taught at other places, I think. Go ahead.
Well, I both my boys went there, and so it's you don't really get a good feel for it until your kids graduate or until you see kids from their freshman year to their senior year. And my wife always says it, that you kind of know a De La Salle grad. They kind of look you in the eye a little bit more. They speak up a little bit more, not disrespecting anybody else. But our teachers do a great job, a phenomenal job of communicating with students and making them communicate. And so, it's not all about the sports and it's not all about the grades. These kids are going to move on. They're going to become husbands. They're going to, they're family members. They're going to become a part of a team in a work environment. And we just want kids to do their part to help the community out and be accountable to whatever they're doing, whatever they're interested in. And so I give a lot of credit to the school, to the teachers and the administration that don't forget about that part of education, that it's not necessarily about getting straight A's. It's about, Cameron Colvin and moving on and, doing a great job in the community. And there's so many people that we could talk about with that are just phenomenal. So that's, I don't think I could teach anywhere else.
Right.
Put it that way. I think if I wasn't teaching at De La Salle, I think I'd have to go find a different profession.
Right. What is it? Enter to learn, leave to serve.
Yeah. It's just all about doing your job and contributing somehow.
Okay, I'm trying to think. What else? Is there anything else we should cover, or do you want me to give you the final word? Have I forgotten anything?
Well, no. It's I think a big thing about our program in baseball is the atmosphere of the parents. Which sometimes in a lot of our baseball community, people say baseball parents are kind of bad. I don't find that within our school. It's more of a support. They're part of our team, and I tell them that in our meetings, that, there's the coaches, the players, and the parents, and any one of us can make the experience bad. And I've just had really good experience with our parents buying into our program and what we do, that they get that it's not all about playing time or being the star. And that's why I mentioned, Johnny Hoffmeister and Max Rettig and Kevin Harioka, those kind of guys who go through the program and they don't get a lot of playing time. Spencer Anderson, who are great kids, and they're going to do really well. They've come through De La Salle and they get it, and their parents get it. And so, I just want to take this opportunity to thank the parents for that. They can make my job miserable, and they don't. They allow the school to do their job in terms of coaching and teaching.
Right, because actually they might play more after De La Salle. In fact, they will in college. Maybe.
Yeah. Some of our guys go on and do that. They don't play a ton here. And they go off into college and they do really well. They find the right fit for them. I was just on the phone with the Division III school, couple Division III schools today, for 5 of our guys who fit academically and baseball wise. And so, sometimes it's hard to get playing time within our program with some of the athletes that we have. But there's guys who find a way.
Right.
Charles McAdoo was not supposed to be a starter last year, and because of the injury to Nick Camozzi, he got an opportunity and just took off, and now he's going to San Jose State.
Right. What was the game where he was supposed to bunt and then the ball was way up high? You remember that?
Yeah, that was a squeeze, and Charles showed a little bit too early. There was a technique thing. So you get mad for a moment, but then he got the job done.
He did. He hit it.
So that was bad coaching on my part.
No. Well, that's also what people don't realize. You're in the dugout, but when they're up, you're on the third. You're the third base coach.
Yeah, that makes it. In our dugout, it's kind of tough because we're on the first base side, so I can't communicate. I have to sign language with our assistant coaches.
Yeah.
On some of the things that we try to communicate with, and so it makes it a little tougher, but it's all right. Mr. Lopez did a great job with the field this year. They put it in a bunch of money, and it's flat now. It used to be real low where I used to stand, and people said they had a hard time seeing me because I'm kind of short.
Okay. Yeah. I'm trying to think. Well, what else? I mean, I could talk to you all day. You know, as I said, you have an infectious person. In fact, I was going to get you, but it was an alum, Foose, sent me a text saying,
"Oh, did you?"
He said,
"Yeah."
And I said, it was on my list. Of course. I mean, you're an obvious choice. You know, as I said. Maybe mention some of the guys that have come through, or even this. You mentioned, the Division III. I remember firsthand. Somebody had gone away and they were back. They were at a JC and they were at practice. You say, well, where do you want to go? You help guys find schools.
We do. There's baseball uses us so much. We put a lot of time and effort into it. The parents driving kids around during summer. You go to Reno, you go to Fresno, you go to LA, you're in hotels. And so we try to get something out of baseball. And it's hard enough to get into college nowadays. To get into college, you want to. But if you can use baseball to help you achieve some of your goals, that's awesome. We sent 2 guys to the University of Chicago, Dylan White and Cole Silva, and baseball might have helped them to get in, let alone normally University of Chicago only takes 1 person if they take 1. So they were really questioning taking 2 guys from the same school. And I think baseball helped them with that. There's guys from the past. Thomas Desmond went to RPI, which is upstate New York. Really great school. Played 4 years there, got a great education. There's just a number of different ways we can help these kids reach their goals. And that's, we have them write them down and send them to me. What they want to do. Do they want to play baseball in college? It's okay not to. Dominic Gruppalo won a Gold Glove, didn't make an error his senior year. Didn't get a lot of looks, but then Pepperdine lost their shortstop to the draft. And they called me up and said, hey, do you have a guy? He went down there. They were super interested in him. But Dom's a smart guy, and he got good grades. He had options. And it just wasn't the right fit for him. And he gave up baseball to go to San Diego State. And he loves it. He loves the beach. He loves San Diego. It just gives the kids an opportunity to do whatever they want to do, whether it's school or not baseball, whatever they want to do. And so we just try to do a little extra effort to find the right place for them. And that we're doing that right now. We have a great connection at De La Salle to talk to almost any coach in the country. And so whether it's Blake Burke or whether it's Johnny Hoffmeister or Spencer Anderson was on JVs last year. And I think he's a really smart kid, did super well in my class. And I think he may go the JC route and then for a year. And, we'll see what happens in baseball for him. He can be a good player. He's got some upside and you never know. You get late bloomers, but let's use baseball a little bit to kind of get what we want to get out of it too. Not to be selfish, but put a lot of time, and these kids put a lot of time and effort into their sport. And if they can go off and accomplish some other goals because of it, that's awesome.
Yeah, I thought about something. You also how are you occupying your time that you thought so much about baseball? Is your wife sick of you? I mean, what's going on in the gym?
No, my wife is doing an awesome job. She's a kindergarten, first grade teacher who's done super well in the past. She's been named one of the top teachers in Antioch. So she's leading the charge with online learning with kindergartners.
Right.
So she's zooming with kindergartners on work, and kids are calling her up on the phone doing spelling lists and moving on. So she keeps herself busy. She knows I'm a busy person with baseball. I've probably been around the house a little too much for her now. But she does her thing. I do mine, and we're grinding. I'm watching the stock market a little more right now. I'd love to be doing a little more baseball, but that'll come. Now it's about communicating with the kids, making sure they're getting their grades done and working out. I have some kids who text me every day their mile time, and we're setting goals. And when they reach goals, we celebrate by text.
Yeah.
It's only between the student and myself. But I'm lucky at this school. We got kids that are self-motivated, that want to get better. And so just interacting with them, giving them a little guidance and reminding them that, hey, this thing's going to be over and you got to be ready to go. There's the real world out there. You're going to have to get a job, or people are struggling, and it's going to be a different world. So you want to have as many tools as you can when this thing's over.
Yeah, you probably enjoy getting those texts, because when this ends, you might as well come out of this a better person than when it started. I mean,
you can look at it as a hindrance or an opportunity. And so I think the school and the kids have really done a great job of looking at it as an opportunity to get better and get ready and still have their goals in mind. We have sophomores and juniors that still want to get into colleges and do well. And it's been interesting. Our kids have really kind of gained an understanding of what it means to be in the classroom and how appreciative they are. I heard that from a number of my students that, they miss being in the classroom with their classmates and with their instructors. And so even if we gain that knowledge and that level of, understanding that, hey, this can all be taken away from us, that's a good thing for our whole community.
Well, it's a tremendous lesson, as I said, something that you took for granted, being able to be in a crowd, be able to go to school, that's no longer on a Friday night, be able to go to a high school football game, be on a Tuesday or Friday, go to a De La Salle baseball game. But that's the other thing. You mentioned goals. I mean, the world has changed, but your goals have not changed, correct?
Yeah, it's just changing. And so you got to be a problem solver. And so we don't play baseball the same way as 2012 did, when I first started on the varsity. We've evolved and we've changed and we've become different. We do it with Mark Wine in the weight room and a number of things. And the moment you stop changing and questioning yourself or getting better, then that's a problem. And so, like I said, our students have done a great job. They send me texts on what they're doing. A couple kids have not done what they're supposed to do, and it's going to be competition, and they're going to have to pay the price for that. And so it's just a good learning experience for all of us, for society in general. That you still got to grind. You got to find a way.
Absolutely. No, that's it. You're a grinder. Let me wrap up. I'll give you the final word.
Well, no, that's what it is. Again, it goes back to how we started. I just want people to remember, De La Salle baseball is grinders, is hard workers. It's not cutting corners. It's not being 6'4" and 240. It's about Ryan Cole and being a little guy playing, starting at University of Notre Dame, or the Johnny Hoffmeisters, or Mike Berdar, who's a smaller guy who's played at the University of Michigan and had highlight reels. And I think he's now one of the coaches for the minor leagues in the San Francisco Giants organization. We have 4 major league scouts that are De La Salle guys. We have college coaches, and it's all about the grind. And so we're just kind of carrying the torch of those guys who have come before us, and to not let them down. Anthony Aliotti and Chris Hom and Brian Byrne and Mike Sanso, who all work for Major League Baseball and their teams. And so our kids know about the history. That's why we do the Zooms. And, you can't let down your teammates. You can't let down the school. And it's all about hard work. That's the bottom line. It's all about hard work.
I can't add anything to that. Let me stop the stream. I'd like to thank you. And what I'll do is afterwards, after I stop it, I'm going to have you give me a stock tip. I don't want anybody else to hear it.
Okay.
Hold on a
No,
second.
Brian, I really appreciate what you do.
No. I appreciate you. It's mutual. It's just a good relationship.
Yeah, no, thank you very much.